Twelfth Night Ceremonies. Bissextum censura diem post festa decem lucibus iniquus nox salibusque datur. Festivum in caetum cauant puri atqui pule ut sors quos regno destinet ipsa leget. Sortis ad arbitrium rex et regina creantur. Vincent Bourne. The festivity of Twelfth Night, when the actors skillfully support their parts, may be rendered not a whit less entertaining than the humours of a masquerade. When the characters are drawn, the king and queen go to the head of the room, and, seated in elevated chairs, proceed to hold their court. On receiving the homage of their people, something appropriate should be addressed to each individual by their majesties, while the subjects are, in turn, indulged with opportunities of putting up eccentric petitions or making humorous complaints. Each individual is expected, for the rest of the night, to conform in speech and manners to the character which fortune has assigned him. If persons address each other by any but their newly assumed title, it may be made the subject of a forfeit. Miss Revel having conducted the sports of some extensive Christmas parties upon a novel principle, her mode is here submitted to consideration. Let the person who gives the entertainment make timely arrangements for drawing the characters. 2 lists should be made, containing the names of the visitors expected, one for the males, the other for the females. Prepare a corresponding number of tickets, containing characters to which are affixed some doggerel rhymes or Hudibrastic lines appropriate to the subject. The slips of paper on which these are written must be numbered on the back, and all folded of one form. The ladies' characters must be put in a reticule or bag, and those for the gentlemen into a hat. When the tea is concluded, a lady carries the hat for the men to draw, and a gentleman carries round the reticule for the females. The 2 tickets which remain after the general distribution are to be appropriated by those who handed round the bag and the hat. The conductor of the games next arranges the drawers precisely in the numerical order of their tickets, either in 2 opposite lines or in a great circle. This being done, the king, who is always number 1, commences to read his lines. Number 2, queen, replies by reciting those on her ticket. Then follow the rest. Of course, it is essentially necessary to arrange the players in the order of their numbers, because they are contrived to elicit a reply, or contain pertinent allusions. This, however, will be better exemplified by putting the matter in action. In order that this little book may be adapted to the circumstances of various ranks of persons, a considerable assortment of characters, including even sundry trades, crafts, and professions, are here produced, to afford a sufficient choice, and to furnish numerous models. Miss Rachel is not so vain as to suppose all the tickets she presents will be adopted. She only submits them as specimens, which doubtless may be much approved upon by persons of wit and ingenuity. Those who have not a facility of jingling things into rhyme may substitute some pithy sentences in prose. But let them be numbered, for without that precaution their point would often be lost. If their majesties are to hold a court, it must not commence until the tickets have been read, when, from knowing the character of individuals, they may have time to prepare some facetious remarks, and be ready to draw out the talents of those presented to them. So the content warning. Character number 39, Miss Bustler, is going to contain a slur for queers that is not in the text a slur. Character number 54 has had a slur for Roma people redacted. And character 73 is a reference to Shakespeare's Shylock from The Merchant of Venice. 1. King. Fate decrees me your king, grave and gay, wise and fools, must consent for this night to submit to my rules. 2. Queen. I'm your queen, good my liege, your confessor, may shrive you, but for me I'm resolved, if I can't lead, I'll drive you. 3. Lord Spendthrift. Blood for money, Lord Spendthrift is ready to barter, if some rich maid will purchase a knight of the garter. 4. Molly Mumper. Molly Mumper wants a husband, baron or duke, she cares not which. If you'll marry a beggar's heiress, she'll promise to make you rich. 5. Lucy Learwell. 'Tis so humdrum to live single, Lucy Learwell would prefer on some facetious youth her hand in fortune to confer. Joe Gibber. Take Joe Gibber, the king's jester. He's the fellow for your yoke, though marriage, it must be confessed, by most wits is counted no joke. 7. Miss All Agog. Miss All Agog's a candid girl who hates monastic vows, and she will never take the veil if she can get a spouse. 8. Sam Sadboy. Sam Sadboy's neither monk nor friar, he sees into your views. Marry him, you may cast off your veil and the rest of your deeds when you choose. 9. Miss Romance. Miss Romance, to accept for her partner, proposes one whole print in his press every work she composes. 10. Printer's Devil. What think you of taking Dick Devil? Types, paper, and ink I have none, but give me your fair hand to squeeze, I'll set up a press of my own. 11. Lydia Lollipop. If you treacle esteem and a sweetheart would gain, Lydia Lollipop shall not be sought for in vain. 12. Sir Matthew Molasses. Miss, Sir Matthew Molasses invites you to wed, for though old, he has still a sweet tooth in his head. 13. Miss Frumpish. Miss Frumpish don't like in gay parties to mix, because she is always as cross as two sticks. 14. Dr. Crabtree. Dr. Crabtree, a prompt change, if feed, will ensure you, for a single stick laid o'er your back will soon cure you. 15. Kitty Coy. Kitty Coy's sure to tremble, to start and to squall, if she sees but the shade of a man on the wall. 16. Mr. Jackdaw. Though you start at mere shadows, believe old Jackdaw, on the substance of man you would fain clap your paw. 17. Miss Pray-to-Pace. Miss Pray-to-Pace knows how to wheedle and cozen. Her tongue gives good measure, 19 to the dozen. 18. Sir Harry Hard to Please. I am Sir Harry Hard to Please, and never in my life beheld a woman good enough to take her for my wife. 18. Sukey Shrew. You need not fear to meet your match when she peeps in her glass so shy. Miss Sukey Shrew has a wife for you, my good sir, in her eye. 20. Teresa Turnspit. Teresa Turnspit longs the sweets of wedlock to be tasting. Her husband shan't want kitchen stuff and plenty of good basting. 21. Jobson the Cobbler. Take Jobson the Cobbler, dear cook, he's precisely the husband to suit. Consent to take him and his all, he'll give you the stirrup to boot. 22. Alice Tartar. To a painstaking husband like you, Alice Tartar would prove quite a treasure. Having once got the length of your foot, of your back I won't fail to take measure. 23. Lord Froth. Lord Froth means his title to sell. Are there any to bid for it here? 20,000 per annum's his price. Sure the ladies won't think it too dear. 24. Miss Lovegold. You prize your worth too high, my lord, for such a precious ninny. Letitia Lovegold would not give a counterfeit half a guinea. 25. Jemmy Jumps. I am the noted Jemmy Jumps, a workman neat and handy, but won't make stays for any man unless he is a dandy. 26. Miss Taper. If for women with beards, O man of skill, to work you won't refuse, you may do a job for Miss Taper's waist as soon as ever you choose. 27. Teresa Tidy. I pick myself on elegance, the sharpest sighted beau. Never saw a single speck of dirt upon Miss Tidy's clothes. 28. Sam Sootbag. Make Sam Sootbag your pet, dear Miss Nimming Primney. A more amorous spark never flew up a chimney. 29. Caliban. If a ready-made man-monster any dainty damsel lacks, let her give her hand to Caliban, the son of Sycorax. 30. Harriet. To wed a monster ready-made, Miss Horner thinks mere stuff, for wives who wish such things to have can make them fast enough. Okay. 31. Miss Lahont. The blushing Miss Lahont looked down while Neddy Ninny Hammer, the full avowal of his love, was fondly heard to stammer. 32. Neddy Ninny Hammer. Though Neddy, prostrate at your feet, stuttered his declaration, in leading you to Hymen's fane, he'll show you no hesitation. 33. Tabitha Runt. Of living single, Tabby Runt most heartily is weary, and wishes some good-natured soul would take her for his dearie. 34. Paul Polygamy. I'm Mr. Paul Polygamy, have 9 wives in Long Acre, and if Miss Runt will prove my 10th, for such I now will take her. 35. The Lady of the Lake. I am the Lady of the Lake, on water parties doting, and wish to hire an active youth to go with me a-boating. 36. Tom Tug. If that's your fancy, Tom Tug's the lad to pick up the hint you've been dropping. Ah, what snug water parties each morning we'll take from Hungerford to Wapping. 37. Snip, the tailor. I am Snip, the natty tailor, and I never look so smirking as when upon a pretty woman's riding habit working. 38. Sally Green. From Sally Green if you seek work, she humbly begs your pardon. She loves her cabbages too well to let you in her garden. 39. Miss Bustler. If an active, industrious boy is to be had, Miss Butler would like to engage such a lad. 40. Nudie Numbskull. Nudie Numbskull will do all the jobs you desire, but as for the Thames, that he won't set on fire. 41. Lady Pop Floster. My Lady Pop Floster has gained vast applause by ribbons, lace, feathers, rouge, spangles, and gauze. 42. Paddy Blarney. Paddy Blarney invokes on your fine taste a blessing, and hopes when you marry you'll get a good dressing. 43. Widow Humguffin. The Widow Humguffin won't think it a sin if a good match turns up to get married again. 44. Matthew Mundungus. If Matthew Mundungus you would not refuse, he's a gudgeon your hook nose may catch when you choose. 45. Neddy Notoriety. I'm Neddy Notoriety, with pride my bosom glows, when as I pass them in the park, girls whisper, there he goes. 46. Miss Spleen. Though to be noticed by the fair and crowded streets you linger, believe Miss Spleen, whene'er you're seen, scorn points at you her finger. 47. Sir Gorbelly Gobblegoose. Some call Goosey a fool. I maintain that what he wise is, for when roasted he just for my dinner suffices. 48. Judge Chicane. I'm Judge Chicane. With quirks of law no barrister defeats me. But such a judge of wives I've proved, I married one who beats me. 49. Peter Pettifog. I am Pettifog the lawyer. Those who wish a cause to lose, an advocate more suitable, need ne'er desire to choose. 51. Miss Blazblue. Miss Blazblue, in taste, now so governs the town, that the wit who weds her shall be sure of renown. 52. Mr. Vapid. Mr. Vapid is yours. Give his works a good name, and make all Doctors' Commons resound with his fame. 53. Sir Harry Hoax. To be well deceived is counted bliss by all judicious folks. Any lady who wishes in love to be duped, let her come to Sir Henry Hoax. Content warning on the next one. Not a good one. 54. Rover Caribou. If Sir Henry desires to be sweetly beguiled, the best thing he can do is to fall at the feet of that queen of deceit, the Rover Caribou. 55. Miss McAvoy. Miss McAvoy disputes with her possession of the prize. Because she made wise heads, believe her fingers all had eyes. 56. Stage-stricken Tim. I'm stage-stricken Tim, a fellow of whim, devoted to love and the muse, and ladies, in fact, I'm ready to act any part a fair mistress may choose. 57. Lady Love Rule. Though she deems you a fool, Though she deems you a fool, the widow love rule, for her third spouse will bear you away, and Jeremy Sneak every day in the week is the part which with her you shall play. 58. Dicky Dip. If you're all in the dark, Dicky Dip is a spark, whose candles will make you see clear, and he'll boldly appeal to the whole commonweal, if such light can be purchased too dear. 59. Doll Dazzler. I suppose by this boast you expect some rich toast in your cotton wick springs to catch, but Doll Dazzler's the lass who prefers Mr. Gas, and now offers herself as his match. 60. Giles Gas. Miss, believe me, Giles Gas is not such an ass as to feel cold at your glowing praise, and soon your bright eye fire enough shall supply to set Hymen's torch in a blaze. 61. Bachelor Bluff. Here is old Tobias Bluff, a fellow queer enough, if the missus his supper will share. They may do so when they choose, but of course they won't refuse, just to put up with his bachelor's fare. 62. Kitty Pry. Kitty Pry, sans hesitation, will accept your invitation. What, on this account, our prudes may think shan't grieve me. I just go, from curiosity, old Celeb's in his den to see, not for bread and cheese, etc., believe me. 63. Don Quixote. I'm the errant knight, whose name has filled the world with fame, who galley slaves, mills, sheep, and wineskins slew. Dulcinea del Toboso, come and cheer the amoroso, whose mighty deeds were all performed for you. 64. Dulcinea del Toboso. You rueful man and crazy, love shall never make me lazy. I should fear to get my shoulders soundly switched, if I left work for sporting, or went with you a-courting, while there's dung with forks and wagons to be pitched. 65. Sancho Panza. Dear Master Romantic, whose deeds are all frantic, Sancho Panza to tournaments now bids adieu. For in truth I prefer being made governor to fasting and getting my bones broke with you. 66. Dr. Chalk. In no place you can walk but the great Dr. Chalk, his abode to your memory recalls. His wreath of renown blows all over the town. Nothing keeps fame alive like dead walls. 67. Miss Emulous. Miss Emulous wishes, amongst the queer fishes, to select some adventurous spark, as she deems the aspiring alone worth admiring. Taking you, sir, she won't miss her mark. 68. Sir John Falstaff. Fays with Falstaff may joke at the foot of Herne's Oak, and if they will regale him with plenty of sherry, spite of all the black looks of the fords and the brooks, Windsor wives shall be welcome with him to make merry. 69. Anne Page. Single men, if ye are wise, make good use of your eyes, ere a partner for life you engage. If you wish youth, wit, grace, and an exquisite face, all these charms may be found in Anne Page. 70. Master Slender. Oh, sweet, sweet Anne Page, you'll take me if you're sage, for you'll ne'er find a lover more tender. But to prove your regard, pray don't hug him too hard, for fear you should hurt Master Slender. 71. Miss Sapphic. I'm the gifted Miss Sapphic, who writes Ode Seraphic. To love's lyre I have added a string. Ask me not to speak prose, I've drank a deep dose from the streams of Castella's spring. 72. Alderman Guzzle. I am Alderman Guzzle, my mouth never muzzle, when dinners are cooked to perfection, and when brought to a fountain of red port or mountain, to drink deep never start an objection. 73. Shylock. Here stands Shylock, a blade skilled in usury's trade. We all know his bond is no jest. I'll give any young rake 20 stone of 12th cake for 1 pound of flesh from his breast. 74. Lydia Languish. Lydia languishes weary for want of a dearie, yet the truth from her tongue should not slip. For, oh dreadful mishap, old maids can't cry snap, till a lover first deigns to cry snip. 75. Kitty Quaint. Believe Kitty Quaint, though bells feel fit to faint. If exposed tete-a-tete with a soldier or sailor, yet in each public place, without shame in her face, the most mealy-mouthed maid may cry snip to a tailor. 76. Tim Snip. If Miss Quint would induce tailor, cabbage, and goose, by this mealy-mouthed hint to think well of her proffer, when to wed she's inclined, she one Tim Snip may find, always ready to snap at a pretty girl's offer. 77. Lady Belle Basilisk. No more with them maids on my charms let men gaze. If they're wise from destruction, I warn them to fly. For lost is the case of the wretch on whose face my Lady Belle Basilisk fixes her eye. 78. Frank Frigid. Frank Frigid but sneers at your ladyship's leers, though your cockatrice glances are dealt with such art. Still he boldly defies all the fire of your eyes, to thaw the reserve of his icicle heart. 79. Tabitha Tinderheart. When Lord Ogle at Margate takes me for his target, from his peepers he peppers my breast with such rays, that I fly his advances for amorous glances, set Tabitha Tinderheart all in a blaze. 80. Quintus Quiz. Quintus Quiz can impart some good news to your heart. All inflammable nymphs sure will think it worth learning. There are offices many where the bosoms of any may for 15% be insured against burning. 81. Blushing Billy. Blushing Billy avows he would fain have a spouse, accomplished, agreeable, wealthy, and young. But when words he should utter, he only can stutter, for shame with the pack-thread that ties up his tongue. 82. Grace Freelove. Let Grace Freelove's tongue try, mauvais knots to untie. Mump at me, and your meaning I'll make out the while. What more need I say, sir? I'll meet you halfway, sir, for I know how to help a lame dog o'er the stile. 83. The Amateur of Fashion. If rich coats can win fame and kindle love's flame, then to rival my glory what fop shall presume? For the amateur of fashion can put in a passion the most even-tempered old maid in the room. 84. Juliet. Juliet offers to you a most strange rendezvous. In her coffin at midnight shall wait for you duly. There, Romeo, show me the homage you owe me, by drinking the poison you merit so truly. 85. Miss Sloven. Miss Sloven's aware that too often the fair by housewifery feats cause their husbands to roam. With scrubbings diurnal and washings eternal, my darling shall never be banished from home. 86. Sir Courtly Nice. Sir Courtly Nice shuts his heart against sluts. To live in a sty, miss no woman is fitter. Who would take for his frau such a two-legged sow? In my bedroom I swear you shall never make a litter. 87. Lady Detraps. Perhaps most dainty sir, Lady Detraps you'll prefer. One who coaxes well in time might gain upon her. She loves finery and dirt, is an antiquated flirt, and would suit an old beau nasty like your honor. 88. Copper Captain. I'm a warrior, delighting in love more than fighting. Copper Captain's my nickname, I'm told, but some woman of title, by way of requital, I hope will soon change it to gold. 89. Lady Chloe Crucible. Though you're a vile schemist and she's an alchemist, Lady Crucible's not such an ass. Of so empty a kettle to alter the metal, or swap her good gold for bad brass. 90. Sir Bernie Brown Stout. If you wish a rich brewer to have for a wooer, Barney Brown Stout for wedlock is ready. He's as large as a butt, so your trust you may put in a husband whose weight makes him steady. 91. Cecily Shrewd. Ere Cecily Shrewd will consent to be wooed, one grand secret she wishes to hear. Malton hops, sir, you buy, may I beg to know why, for you don't put much things in your beer. 92. Ben the Banker. Benny Banker his wealth still kept raising by stealth, till if reached by enormous amount, having now left off trade, he desires with some maid to open a marriage account. 93. Doll Didapper. Though you change gold to paper, in spite of your vapor, Doll Didapper is not at your back. She is not quite so rash as to trust you with cash, but she'll give to your purse pride a cheek. 94. Solomon Shroud. Out of this charming crowd, Mr. Solomon Shroud undertakes some dear girl to beguile. Lines in he won't mention, but 'tis his intention to lay out his wife in great style. 95. Lydia Lively. Miss Lively allows she would like a good spouse, but she hopes to leave Shroud in the lurch. As her temper is gay, she just begs leave to say that a grave man shan't take her to church. 96. The Dugald Creature. From Lomond's heights descending, ragged fortune to be mending, the Dugald Creature travelled in the steamboat from Dundee. He's a faithful canny Scot, fit for marriage and what not, and the motto he adopts is, "Ladies, wha wants me?" 97. Widow Rantipole. This is just the kind of fool Rachel Rantipole may rule, without fearing of conscience of any twitches. Highland husbands want no clothes, but fillet bag and hose, and never think of putting on the breeches. 98. Miss Inquisitive. Once when seated near a ditch, a fortune-telling witch, while volumes of good luck she kept relating, Miss Inquisitive, quoth she, you ere long shall married be, but my patience is grown threadbare now with waiting. 99. Mordecai. Mordecai vends old clothes to first-rate belles and beaux. Search all Monmouth Street, you'll find no tradesman fairer. If you'll pay the price I lack for each rag upon my back, in the bargain, miss, you shall have the wearer. 100. Fanny Figaro Fun. Though the women every one laugh at Miss Figaro Fun, let them slander, quiz, and hoot at me, what then? They my feelings cannot hurt, for I hold them cheap as dirt, but oh, how I do long to please the men. 101. Sammy Satire. As your anxious man to please, that may be performed with ease, if the hints of Sammy's satire are not slighted. Never more let your tongue wag, pop your head into a bag, and every one you know will be delighted. 102. Mrs. Dasher. By expending upon dress every farthing they possess, Mrs. Dasher and her sister charm the beau. No renown to them is dear, but each day throughout the year, to make a perfect change in all their clothes. 103. Sir Lobby Lounger. Your mode of earning fame has fully reached its aim. Lobby Lounger knows no dashers more notorious, but a page of almanac, daily stitched on a slut's back, would secure her celebrity as glorious. 104. Dan Dolorous. Dan Dolorous to charm a face as long as her arm, his companion must endeavor to assume, nor presume to crack a joke which a giggle might provoke, to disturb his sad countenance the gloom. 105. Letitia Smirk. Bear far hence that visage smirk from the presence of Miss Smirk. Such grumpoodles I would hang without a trial. I make all who hear my wit laugh as if they're and grin just like the head of a bass viol. 106. Jeremy Grimace. If you love a comic face, smile on Jeremy Grimace. Let your fortune be adjudged to be the best grinner. Then, my gay one, quickest thought, when the horse collar is brought, of your hand you shall acknowledge me the winner. 107. Sam Silent. Sam Silent thinks that noise all happiness destroys, drowns reflection and makes clear ideas muddy. His wife about the house must go creeping like a mouse, and never set her foot within his study. 108. Rachel Rattle. You bookworm most odious, the accents melodious of Miss Rattle shall not shake your ears' dull drum. She talks small with a big voice, but the woman of your choice should be ugly, silly, aged, blind, and dumb. 109. Ninny Henpeck. Ninny Henpeck grows weary, such a tyrant is his dearie. None at giving curtain lectures is so clever. Well a day, is there no cure for the afflictions I endure? Tell me, must I live in slavery forever? 110. Jarvis the Coachman. Come to Coachman Jarvis's school. Vicious jades he soon can rule. Curbs and lashes well bestowed can make them skip. If you've any inclination to obtain more information, I've a wife can tell how well I use the whip. 111. Zachariah Swapper. When Zachariah Swapper gets a scolding wife to whop her, or to duck her in a horse pond, he's unwilling. When her bad ways she won't alter, led to Smithfield in a halter, he just sells her to a drover for a shilling. 112. Miss Timorous. Every sound at night she hears fills Miss Timorous with fears of seeing goblins, demons, and their hosts. So to guard her when in bed, a rich vicar she will wed, for the clergy are renowned for laying ghosts. 113. Dr. Splice. The Reverend Dr. Splice thinks marriage very nice. In his pocket it puts many a good guinea. He is ready to unite others morning, noon, and night, but to wed himself, don't think him such a ninny. 114. Miss Turtle. Miss Turtle feels ashamed such a thought should be proclaimed. Fie upon you, sir, you make the ladies frown. Remember wise King Solomon, and none so well ever knew woman, says a wife unto her husband is a crown. 115. Sir John Irony. From the mouth of old Ironic, hear the apothegm laconic. Married couples do not always play the turtle. And as for Crown's sweet miss, whose lips I long to kiss, there are some of thorns as well as some of myrtle. 116. Maria Mantrap. Miss Maria Mantrap swears when beaux fall in her snares. For their mishap remorse her heart ne'er touches. You as well might ask a cat to liberate a rat, when she gets the poor brute fairly in her clutches. 117. Squire Oldbuck. Squire Oldbuck feels no twinge at the mention of your springs. At your bait and e'en your clutches he can laugh. Being fairly up to trap, he is safe from such mishap. Don't you know old birds are never caught with chaff? 118. Apothecary Drenchel. I'm Apothecary Drenchel, and soon you will entrenchel. The bills I send at Christmas are all spankers. Whatsoever your trades or crafts, you shall never want my draughts, as long as I get draughts upon your bankers. 119. Dr. Gilead. Not one hero in the Iliad can be named with Dr. Gilead, though no duck to quack incessantly my trade is. Blockheads quaff my balm like nectar, but the sword and spear of Hector ne'er sent half so many ghosts to people Hades. 120. Lady Belle Coquette. If Lady Belle Coquette some wealthy fool can get, she'll just play him as an angler does a barbel. But as for love or feeling, honor, friendship, and plain dealing, you as well may seek such qualities in marble. 121. Priscilla Pedigree. Dicky Split Deal, you're a lad I love, because your dad is descended from a most illustrious stock. I know he mints at me, but Priscilla Pedigree would rather have a chip of the old block. 122. Dicky Split Deal. For this love which sets her raving, I would not give a shaving. Though she asks me to marry, I decline her. Through the oak of my heart's door, she gimlet I can't bore. I'm a carpenter, and will not be her joiner. 123. Adam Delver. Adam Delver, you must grant, knows the way to graft and plant. Dolly Doggerose in his breast he longs to put. If a gardener you will wed, you shall come to his hot bed, and be in love's conservatory shut. 124. Dolly Doggerose. You vile old raking fellow, your skin like quince is yellow. With hope's forced fruit, your palate you deceive. Don't imagine spades are trumps. Stir your two old cabbage stumps. Mr. Adam, I will never be your Eve. 125. Lawrence Locksmith. I'm a smith by name and trade, and wedlock with a maid. I should like if she was wealthy, fair, and young. I have hammer, springs, and wire, and all she can desire, if any bell here wishes to be hung. 126. Sukey Squeamish. I think you have forgot that bells have clappers got. Sukey Squeamish in her principles is nice, and her answer, Mr. Smith, shall be given you with pith. She will never wed a man who has a vice. 127. Sammy Sharp Set. Sammy Sharp Set, through the shambles of Fleet Market often rambles, where there's meat would make Pythagoras a sinner. Lucy Lamb, sweet butcher's daughter, how your chops make my mouth water. Dearest, when will you prepare our wedding dinner? 128. Lucy Lamb. Mr. Sharp Set, you're a sniveler. I've long known that you're a driveler. Lucy Lamb requests that you alone will leave her, and truly as to chops, sir, in all the butcher's shops, there are those who on a block can strike a cleaver. 129. Molly Wormwood. If to balls an old maid goes, she gets affronted by the beaux, who to flirt with handsome partners rudely leave her. Every time the hussies smile, oh, it stirs up all her bile, and puts poor Molly Wormwood in a fever. 130. Billy Civet. Molly Wormwood, you should fall to the lot of Dr. Gall. Billy Civet vows no union could be fitter. Then his own prescription following, we should see the doctor swallowing a dose of stuff superlatively bitter. 131. Dr. Gall. Dr. Gall begs Master Billy, you will not be so silly. To that lady's skull my hand has an objection. All the organs of her head with my fingers I have read, and fine scolding is developed in perfection. 132. Bully Huff. Bully Huff, a man of pluck and military buck, fain would take some lady under his protection. He delights to show his mazard in all places where there's hazard, and to play the deepest game has no objection. 133. The Pig-Faced Lady. The pig-faced lady's snout has long been looking out for some brave soldier, since with hers she is smitten. If you're fond of pork, make haste, then the food you love to taste, but pray take care the biter don't get bitten. 134. Betty Blackleg. Betty Blackleg has kept single, loving uncontrolled to mingle with the rooks whose purses rouge et noir makes weighty. But since losing her last shilling, she now ready is and willing to espouse some rich old bachelor of 80. 135. Lord Totterton. As Lord Totterton can't stand, he would like some help. In her soft lap she may put his gout-afflicted foot, and watch at his bedside when he is sleeping. 136. Sukey Sensitive. Sukey Sensitive with dread hears pathetic stories read, tales of woe with sympathetic anguish rend her. Then her eyes to fountains turn, and her sighs a mill would turn. Ah, why did nature make her heart so tender? 137. Peter Pitiful. At your side a wretch appears, who claims some quarts of tears. Peter Pitiful was born to tribulation. In love he has been crossed, his happiness is lost. Prithee cast on him a look of consolation. 138. Madge Miser. Many seek to wed Madge Miser, but I'll warrant me she's wiser. Husbands are than cats, far more expensive creatures. What with smoking, snuff, and beer, their keep is much, and the rogues are most unconscionable eaters. 139. Jeremy Diddler. As to raiment, snuff, and diet, Mistress Madge, you may be quiet, if you'll give your hand to Jeremy Diddler, for he'll persevere in shuling, and both flats and sharps keep fooling, while there's a sixpence to be borrowed from a fiddler. 140. Jack Ratlin. May a sailor show his face where there's so much gauze and lace? Girls, perhaps the smell of tar may not quite suit you? If with pride at him you scoff, soon Jack Ratlin shall sheer off, but first he'll turn the hands up and salute you. 141. Betty Britannia. Slight the sailor, no, God bless him, all good patriots must caress him. Miss Britannia's Union Jacks for you unfurled, and as for tar, the rose smells less delicious to my nose. 'Tis to me the best perfume in all the world. 142. John Bull. Though the fleets you took are rotten, and your worth by some forgotten, my memory at least is not so porous. The heart of old John Bull is with love of you brimful, and every British maid should join the chorus. Finis.